Which NBA team owners ruined their own basketball dreams? From shattered rosters to headline-grabbing scandals, some NBA owners have not just failed, they have wrecked entire franchises. It was about their ego-driven decisions, culture-killing trades, and moves so bad, the NBA literally had to change its rules.
I am banning Mr. Sterling for life from any association with the Clippers organization or the NBA.
From the Knicks' years of embarrassment to the Clippers' infamous scandals, these are not just bad owners, they are the worst in NBA history. And buried in those stats and lawsuits are stories fans still have not forgotten. So which owner, in your opinion, left the biggest stain on their franchise? Stick around. Hit the like and subscribe button for updates, and let's get into the details.
The 53-year-old suddenly ejected from his seat while watching the Knicks Clippers game by a swarm of security.
James Dolan. When you talk about the Mount Rushmore of terrible NBA owners, James Dolan's face gets chiseled in first. This guy has been running the New York Knicks straight into the ground for over 2 decades, and not even quietly. From absurd front office hires to PR disasters, Dolan's reign has been a masterclass in how not to run a franchise. Let's rewind to the 2000s, arguably the darkest decade in Knicks history. Dolan gave Isaiah Thomas the keys to the kingdom, and Thomas responded by torching the roster. The Knicks traded away draft picks like they were junk mail and signed disasters like Jerome James and Eddie Curry. Oh, and let's not forget the sexual harassment scandal involving Thomas and Stephon Marbury that cost the Knicks $11.5 million. Then came the Oakley debacle. Dolan literally had Charles Oakley thrown out of Madison Square Garden like a trespasser. He later brought in Phil Jackson, a genius coach but a clueless executive who only made things worse. Even when Donnie Walsh tried to do things right, Dolan interfered, forcing the Knicks to overpay for Carmelo Anthony when they could have just signed him. For years, stars have avoided New York, not because of the city, but because of Dolan, Mark Cuban. If James Dolan was the villain hiding in plain sight, then Mark Cuban is the smiling disruptor. Loud, flashy, and always tweeting like a tech bro on a sugar rush, Cuban seems like a good guy. But as an owner, he has been chaotic in designer jeans. Cuban has turned the Dallas Mavericks into a franchise of wasted potential. Forget the Shark Tank charm. Behind the scenes, he has been a micromanaging shadow GM who could not get out of his own way. So much so that Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Michael Finley had to tell him to chill out. That was not leadership, that was interference. The Mavs won a title in 2011, and Cuban immediately broke up the roster chasing pipe dreams like Dwight Howard and Chris Paul, neither of whom ever sniffed Dallas. He let Steve Nash walk over money concerns, only for Nash to win back-to-back MVPs in Phoenix. Then there was the Jalen Brunson blunder, letting Luka's perfect co-star bolt to New York for nothing. And let's not forget the toxic workplace culture, detailed in multiple investigations, including sexual misconduct allegations and a lawsuit from Donnie Nelson. Cuban's Mavericks are not just mismanaged, they have become a cautionary tale. Winning masked the rot. Tsai. As an NBA team owner, Tsai's downfall has been polished, expensive, and dripping in contradiction. You'd think buying the Brooklyn Nets for $2.35 billion and shelling out another $1 billion for Barclays Center would come with a plan. But Tsai went all in like a poker newbie holding a pair of twos, and Brooklyn's been burning ever since. Tsai talks a big game about social justice in America, but his deep business ties with China, specifically blacklisted companies accused of mass surveillance and racial profiling, paint a different picture. It is hard to lead with integrity when your global portfolio is part of the problem. On the basketball side, disaster. Tsai tried to buy a ring by letting Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden essentially run the franchise. Result? Injuries, drama, trade demands, and a locker room that turned toxic. Instead of building a culture, he built a circus. And then he made it worse by throwing subtweets at his own stars during trade rumors. Now, 4 years and 0 championships later, Brooklyn is a directionless mess, their value still trailing the Knicks. Yes, those Knicks. Tsai did not just drop the bag, he lit it on fire just to watch it burn slowly. Michael Jordan. If Tsai burned billions chasing a quick fix, Michael Jordan slowly bled a franchise dry with bad basketball decisions and budget-first thinking. As a player, Jordan was untouchable. As an owner, he has been an absolute disaster. Since becoming the majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets in 2010, Jordan has turned what should be a promising small market team into one of the most irrelevant franchises in the league. 2 playoff appearances in 13 years, 0 series wins, and a roster that always seems one piece and one plan short of contending. Let's talk missed opportunities. Jordan passed on future stars like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal to take Michael Kidd-Gilchrist at number 2 in 2012. He let Kemba Walker, the best player in franchise history, walk for nothing. And in a league where spending wins, Jordan never paid the luxury tax, making Charlotte the only team in NBA history to hold that dubious honor. Worse yet, he reportedly led the charge during the 2011 lockout to cap player income, all while refusing to properly invest in his own team. Jordan may be the GOAT in sneakers, but in a suit, he's been a cautionary tale in how not to run an NBA team. Donald Sterling. If Jordan failed through stubborn frugality, Donald Sterling set the gold standard for disgrace. For over 3 decades, he turned the Clippers into a national punchline, but his eventual downfall was so toxic, it nearly took the entire league down with him. Sterling bought the Clippers in 1981, moved them from San Diego to LA in 1984, and promptly got fined $25 million for it. Classic Sterling, already making enemies and cutting deals. But the real horror show came later. Years of racial discrimination lawsuits, sexual harassment claims, and shady business practices. For a long time, the NBA turned a blind eye, treating him like an eccentric rich guy rather than a reputational time bomb. That bomb exploded in 2014 when TMZ released audio of Sterling casually spewing racist bile.
From broadcasts that you're associating with black people,
including jabs at Magic Johnson. With players threatening to boycott the playoffs, Commissioner Adam Silver banned Sterling for life, fined him the max $2.5 million, and fast-tracked the team's sale. Sterling naturally sued everyone, including his own wife, to block the $2 billion sale to Steve Ballmer. He lost, and somehow he walked away richer. Ted Stepien. If Donald Sterling was disgraceful, Ted Stepien was disastrous. In just 3 years, Stepien did enough damage to the Cleveland Cavaliers to earn his own rule in the NBA rulebook, a distinction no other owner can claim. Stepien bought the Cavs in 1980 and quickly transformed them into a league-wide cautionary tale. He burned through 5 coaches in 3 seasons, traded away nearly every future first-round draft pick, including the number 1 pick in 1982, which turned into James Worthy, and made mind-boggling decisions that gutted the franchise. His arrogance was legendary. He believed he had a special talent for evaluating players, but all it led to was Cleveland missing out on superstars like Charles Barkley and John Stockton. His reckless trades forced the league to step in and freeze the Cavs' draft activity. Eventually, the NBA created the Stepien rule, forbidding teams from trading first-round picks in consecutive years. Stepien's era was defined by front office chaos, bounce per diems, and outright racism in his public statements. By the time he threatened to move the team to Toronto, fans and the NBA alike had seen enough. His exit was not just necessary, it was merciful. In the end, summing up the details from today's video, some of the richest people on earth got their hands on NBA teams and still ran them straight into the ground. From inherited empires to billion-dollar buy-ins, money was never the issue. It was judgment, ego, and flat-out incompetence. Because running a franchise is not like running a business. It takes vision, leadership, and a deep understanding of the game. Most of these guys had none of that. So which NBA owner do you think failed the hardest, and which franchise do you think suffered the longest under bad ownership? Comment below, hit the like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.